So you want to draw a heavy bow, but you don't know how. Today, I'm going to give you guys some simple tips to get you started and keep you safe and injury-free. Before we get started, I like to say I do thumb draw, but these techniques technically also work with finger draw. You'll see these techniques throughout history from everything from the English longbowmen all the way to the Asiatic archers. The first thing you need to understand is this is historical archery, which was made to shoot heavy bows against armored opponents. What that means is the accuracy you're going to get from these techniques are not going to be the same as Olympic archery, which uses fine motor movements to keep consistent to get more accurate and precise results. Firstly, if you've never done archery before, this is not the type of archery you want to start with. This is going to teach you some pretty bad habits and potentially lead to injury. I would recommend anyone with 3 to 5 years of experience to start experimenting with this type of archery. As with anything else, if you want to draw heavy bows, you got to start low first. So once you start building these techniques with a 20 to 30 pound bow, then you can start moving on up to an 80 to 125 to 150 and beyond poundage bow. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but that's the truth of it. I've been doing archery for a decade, and half of that has been doing historical archery. One last note, please do not get into the debate of which archery style is better. Each archery style has their own focus. Olympic archery focuses on accuracy. Historical archery focuses on, well, unaliving people. So every archery style and archer should respect others. The biggest differences between historical archery and Olympic archery are the muscle groups that are involved. In Olympic archery, you typically max out at about 45 pounds, and that's on the very, very high end. Because of this, those archers are using finer muscle groups. In historical archery, we use our whole body to draw the bow. It starts with our stance, which aligns our body and skeleton to take the weight of the bow, then our back muscles to begin the draw, then everything else that comes into it, including our shoulders, that becomes the final brace against the bow. Before we get started into the breakdown, I'm going to take one shot to demonstrate to you what historical archery looks like. You'll notice something. The movements are fairly gross. So let's break that down real quick. The stance. In the stance, I want to have my feet about shoulder width apart. Now I like to have an open stance rather than a closed-off stance, and I want to have my body oriented towards the target. From here, you'll notice that once I knock my arrow, I set my bow arm. You'll notice that my bow arm is not straight out like this because that's going to put all the pressure on my shoulder joint. It's actually a little bit higher. This angle allows me to engage my lat on the left side to brace the bow. So I know what you're thinking. If your arm is pointed up, won't your arrow go up? If I'm standing straight up like Olympic, you'd be correct. But what I'm going to do to offset that is hinge at the waist. The next step is I want to preset my arm before I start drawing. Now, the biggest mistake you can do is starting your draw down here. You will never draw a heavy bow like this because you're using your arm for this part of the draw. You want to start with your arm up high so that you're using your back muscle, your right lat, to start that draw. Think of it not so much as drawing backwards, but more of a row downwards. The modern equivalent of this would be either a row or a pull-up, using your back muscles to start the movement. So what does my arm do during this time? Nothing. Think of your arm at this point as a rubber band. This is going to help you think to use your back muscles to start the draw rather than your arm. So now that I have my bow arm set, I'm going to bring my draw arm to the bow above my head. I will draw with my right lat and see how my shoulders line up and release. So the rowing motion is to get you to the back position that is called full draw. Full draw with a heavy bow is a little bit longer than a traditional Olympic draw and even a modern traditional draw. The reason for this is you want to get to full draw to where your shoulders are now in between your hands. This is going to allow your body to take the weight of that bow rather than trying to hold it with fine muscle groups. Once your lats are set at full draw and your shoulders are between the bow and the string, this is a fairly stable position. You're able to hold the bow a lot more than if you were trying to hold it like this. Let me demonstrate how unstable holding the bow with your fine muscle groups is. I'm gonna do everything the same. I'm gonna draw, and I'm gonna try to anchor on my face. See how my front arm is now bracing the bow, and I'm trying to hold the arrow back with my draw hand and my draw arm. All the shakes in the world, and this is only an 80-pound bow. Versus, if I set everything up and I draw back, now everything is more stable. That is a lot more sustainable at higher rates of fire than trying to use those fine muscle groups. So let's go over it again. Heavy bow and warbow archery, you're using larger muscle groups. You're using your body to brace against the bow. You're using your large back muscles to keep the bow stretched. And finally, your draw stroke looks a lot different than Olympic style draw stroke. Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them down below in the comment. If you want a more in-depth video on each step of the process, let me know that too. If the video was helpful, give me a like and give me a subscribe. I'm gonna be trying to do a lot more tutorial videos on specifically Asiatic and historical archery. So if you like those, let me know. See ya.